What made you decide to get in this field in the first place?
I don't know that it was a conscious decision, but when I was a junior in college, I went to India and Nepal to teach English in a school for kids who had leprosy. And then I wound up going from there to Kathmandu and taught in a school for girls. And I think that experience changed my life. At that point, I was committed to I wanted to go back to India, and I just wanted to work with poor people my whole life. And that didn't happen, but I think that my heart changed, and I realized in the most profound way that I'd ever been touched, that what life was all about for me, not for everyone, but for me, where I get my whatever it is, I don't know. If I could figure that out, I'll write a book and make some money off of it. But I think there's a part of me that gets its deepest satisfaction when you're making a difference in the lives, especially of people who can't make it themselves.
Well, that goes to show how much you do care. What do you feel the benefits are in keeping the services provided by the private market?
Well, full disclosure, I am a Republican. I call myself a bleeding heart Republican, and I believe in free market. I think that free markets stimulate competition, and competition raises quality. So I think that I would never support a provider system that was all government run, because I just don't think that works well. I think that the private market
kind of eliminates choice a little bit too.
Choice, and I think it has a tendency to stifle creativity. That doesn't mean that governments can't do things well, but I do think that private markets are just, they're more nimble, they can react more quickly. If these were government providers that had to react to the tiers and to the changes in rates, it'd be a disaster, because it takes so long to adapt and to adjust. I've been a bureaucrat now for a little over a year. I can tell you that nothing gets done quickly, because you have to go through so many levels and layers.
A lot of channels to go through.
Small providers they're just nimble. They're able to do things. They're able to replace one service with another and react to consumers' needs, because consumers, their needs are immediate. They can't wait 30 to 60 days to get an answer on something. So
it goes to show that we can't live without providers.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And what is your opinion about the tiers and how they will affect people with disabilities in the state of Florida?
I wish I could know. I've got an 8-ball on my desk somewhere. I need a crystal ball now. Fortunately, from the analysis that we've done, only about 30 to 35% of the people who receive services now will actually be affected by the tiers. Everyone else's cost plan should fit into the tier that they will be assigned to. And that's our preliminary estimate. So it's still a lot of people, but it's not the whole universe of people that we serve. And then for those people that we serve, some changes will be minimal, and they'll be able to adjust their cost plan accordingly. But I think there will be some that will drop from, say, a $72,000 cost plan to a $35,000 cost plan. I don't know how that's going to work. I am concerned. I think that because the legislature decided to further reduce provider rates this past session by another $43.5 million, we may lose providers as a result. So there may be fewer choices for families and for individuals to kind of scramble and figure out what Plan B is going to be. And I will say that we've been meeting with the governor's office and with my staff internally to developing this past couple of days a Plan B. We want to have sort of an emergency or contingency plan available for families. We're going to be listing the group home, the vacant group home beds on our website, as well as the vacant ICF beds. We're going to be designating a person in each of the area offices as a residential coordinator to help families, support coordinators, individuals find services if their services get disrupted so dramatically that they're going to have to change where they live. I'm really concerned about people in supported living who might lose some services that they need. So, we don't know, but I committed to my staff here that we will be ready. That before I leave, I want to make sure that we have a plan in place so that, and we're ready if the phone calls start coming in, either to this office or to the area offices, so we can direct people to alternatives.
Yeah, because that is a big topic right now about the tiers, and there's so many people that are worried about it. Overall, do you think that the tiers are going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
I think, that's, I don't know how good for what. I mean, if it's good for our budget, yes, sure, it'll help to manage funds, and we'll be able to predict more accurately how much money we're going to spend from year to year. Good for people, I don't think it's not the approach that the agency we never supported the tiers. It was an arbitrary approach to say that everyone in this group will automatically fit under this cap because people are so different and the needs are so different. And that's why I'm such a proponent of the consumer-directed care program, because with that, you develop a person's cost plan based on their needs, and then you cap that, and then you hold them to that, and require them to manage within that budget, and you don't allow them to change that budget. And if they want another service, they'll have to take one service out and replace it. So that, to me, that model works because it's customized to the person's need. The tiers are just, it's an arbitrary cap based on a generalization that I just think defies the whole paradigm of the way a developmental disability program should work. But it wasn't my decision, and we'll see. And I don't want to be too pessimistic because it may work out. We may be able to make it work out. And I am optimistic that certain legislators, especially Representative Galvano in the House, who hoping that he takes a senior position on the Healthcare Council, he has been very open to working with us and making adjustments as needed to some of the changes that came about in Senate Bill 1124. So I'm hoping if we find that the tiers really are causing major disruptions, then I think that maybe they'll be open to changing them.
And with all the cuts to the budget and the most recent cuts to the pay of many providers, do you think it will force providers to go out of business?
I'm hearing that. I don't know. It depends on how providers are structured. Certainly when we eliminated services like massage therapy, if you made your living providing a therapeutic massage, you lost your job.
Which I do know several people that happened to.
Right. So there's some things that are pretty cut and dry when you eliminate a service, but by reducing rates, we will put a lot of pressure on providers. And if they have alternative revenue sources, they may be able to continue to stay in the business. Some may decide it's not worth it. Some, my biggest concern is that the good providers will leave and we'll wind up with a lower quality of providers, and that's never good. But
my sense is a lot of the smaller providers are slowly going to get pushed out with the cuts, and they'll leave the agencies and the bigger provider companies, and which eliminates a lot of choice.
Right, and I don't know if that will happen or not because smaller providers don't have the overhead that large companies do, so it really remains to be seen. As I said, if you have a diversified revenue portfolio, it sounds like a stock broker, but if you are, say, like an ARC, and you've got ResHab, adult day training, transportation, supported living services, you've got several different revenue streams, you might be able to make it work, and you might by making adjustments. But if you rely on a single revenue stream and it's been cut by 5 to 7%, then that would be difficult. So,
in my opinion, one of the most valuable things to help people with disabilities is the waiver support coordinators that help and advocate for them, and the providers that care for them. What's your opinion on that?
I have to agree completely. APD is we're the payor and we're the coordinator, but really it's the providers out there in the field that are making the difference every day in people's lives. And we're trying to, our role is to help train and oversee the providers, but really the providers are it.